You're watching Cheche live on Citizen TV. Our guest this morning, before becoming Speaker of the Senate, Ekwe Ethuro, was a three-time MP for Kana Central. He's a politician respected across party lines. He's now with the Jubilee Coalition. And we've been talking about the Senate. We've been talking about your decisions, your relevance, whether we actually need one. Part of what you're doing, because you've got to rush to open the Senate, has also been trying to reorganize how the Senate works. For instance, on Wednesdays you want to start a bit later. Help us understand why you're changing, making all these changes within the Senate.
We inherited the standing orders from the 10th Parliament of the Masters. I must own up that I was part of
that Parliament, yes.
And actually making the standing orders. But you know, as we implemented them, knowing some of our unique features as a house, there is a feeling gaining currency that we should create more opportunities for committee work, you know, where we can really interrogate things, especially now in a presidential system, where, you know, ministers are not in the house. So you need more, committees need to engage more with the executive outside the plenary, kind of. So that is really one.
So you're expanding committees as well?
We're also expanding committees so that we can interrogate all the issues, because we have been putting all of them together.
The president at one time complained that Parliament, both Senate and the National Assembly, are abusing that committee system. Mara, you will call this minister in this committee, he is supposed to be on a committee, that they are spending much of their time instead of working for Kenyans, and being called, like there is that's not yours. There are two committees doing the same thing about the radio.
Yeah.
Same committees, same parliament, and
one cabinet
secretary might go to answer questions in many places. That
well, the one of the two committees you may wish to invite my colleague and friend.
What about that business
of National Assembly to
misuse
answer?
Of government?
For me, I don't think it's misuse of government. One, you must appreciate that Parliament can summon a minister. It's a matter of responsibility and accountability any time. That is there. The question we should be asking is not whether it is necessary. Is that now we need to reach some agreement with the executive on how we can be able, you know, the frequency of somebody, maybe how we can do our business better. And we are looking as a parliament. You know, I said we have started the bicameral system. So these are challenges when you begin. It's just less than a year. I'm sure towards the second year and more years of existence, we'll refine the art of communication between the executive and our committees. It definitely is a concern, but sometimes we also tell them it depends on the kind of the issues they generate. If they do a clean job, maybe there will be less summons.
Yesterday you met the Chief Justice, both you and Mr. Muturi. Can you tell us the gist of your conversation?
Well,
conclusion.
Yes, when we started having this kind of difficulties between my committees and the judiciary, I took the initiative to make sure that at least we reach out to the judiciary, and there are some positions we hold, there are positions they hold, and so this was really a very first time, and then we felt as a parliament we need to discuss with the judiciary on some of these issues, and now we relate the understanding of some of those provisions in the law, the kind of issues we're also raising here. Because maybe if we have a common understanding, then there will be less tension between the two institutions.
But don't you think it's very unfair when Parliament goes ahead and reduces the budget for the judiciary because of that, those differences? You want to reduce the budget of the judiciary?
You know, we are working on an assumption. That is speculation. How do you work on the assumption that is because of... I mean, we always slash budgets. Even parliaments, sometimes they slash budgets. I think that should be left to the discussions in the plenary when they come. But I don't think, at least yesterday we had also a joint Kamkunji for the houses. And that one I can confirm it was very clear. Members said, we have difficulties, but we are supporting devolution, we are going to support the judiciary. That one was also very clear.
Are you not concerned about what I would call abuse of privileges by members of the Senate, using the floor to say, for example, attack, other institutions like the judiciary, which has become quite normal, as well as still taking parliamentary issues out there into rallies, persisting in the same attacks? Matter of disciplining your members.
Do you think actually it's fair for judiciary to be attacked by the way it's being attacked, that we're going to vet judges individually? Those kind of utterances, threatening the judges.
Well, those utterances, I think, were made in press conferences.
At rallies by
and rallies,
lawyer members of the Senate,
they were not
even
made
on the floor.
They were not made on the floor. Of
Even
course,
the floor.
if they came to the floor, I'll be the first one to read to them the standing orders and guide the House accordingly. We will not allow the houses to operate outside our standing orders. That is one key function of a speaker.
So you're saying that you're not responsible for what they utter outside
Different, they are
the
politicians. When they go to the public rallies, I was not responsible. Now they got elected.
Right.
But I thought
But
there is
in
a
terms of
standing order that prohibits them from carrying parliamentary business out to the public rallies.
That is true, but there is no parliamentary business about summoning of judges. I mean, summons by governors or judges, judiciary, no. That is not an active matter before any committee. I'm not aware.
It's done and finished. Let's assume...
not even done and finished. Is one, as again for us, Parliament will continue. We'll summon governors that we want to summon.
Okay, then help us understand this. Just it's great that we have you here. Help us understand the difference between parliamentary business, as you understand it, and what members of the House might say outside, and how it doesn't constitute parliamentary business.
From Macaulay's reading, which is correct, when a matter is before the committee of the House, and the committee has not concluded that matter through tabling the report to the House, then that matter should not be discussed outside there. But I'm saying the issues that you have had out there have not been, they are not being interrogated by the committees of the House. People are just expressing themselves. But I thought if you feel so compelled to try to gag them out there, maybe you may start by not calling them to these talk shows.
Some of our viewers have been commenting, wonderful Ekwe, the courts should not gag Kenyan Parliament as much as courts don't want to be gagged, except for the small matter of raising their own salaries. The last two parliaments and Senate have done quite well, including anchoring the judiciary's independence. And that came from Cyrus at Kalu. Silas disagrees with you, David, saying that you're wrong on this one. But
I'm also David.
Oh, of course, yes. But he meant David McCalley. Patrick in Donholm disagrees, saying, seriously, Cheche, what kind of leader is this you bring on TV this morning? His approach on the issue of governors is unfounded and misleading. He's rubbished Nyachaya's team, the courts, and public opinion, which guide us on every leadership mix-up. We're deeply disappointed in him to the core. How do you respond to that? That's harsh.
I will allow that one to pass.
You'll allow it to pass? It's quite harsh.
It's too harsh. He's entitled to his own judgment. But I don't know how many people, he starts by himself and then becomes plural.
Right. Kiongo in Nairobi, does the supposedly unstoppable Senate process, which they say the court should wait to interpret, then mean that the Senate decision, if found to be wrong, cannot be addressed thereafter?
Good.
It can. The courts can, I mean, we make laws as a parliament and the court says this is unconstitutional. But the court can, and that will be it, because that law will not be operational. And that will affect both parliament and the executive because they took action.
So what do you think will happen if...
But the judge will not say, go and rectify. Remove this anomaly and fix it this way. It's not a fundi.
Actually, which is what Maina in Nyahururu is suggesting. Yeah. He says the senators behave like a kangaroo court, and the mitigation by the governor and his lawyer was not even discussed or considered. During the hearing of the impeachment charges, the Speaker allowed the senators to issue overt threats to the governors not subject to particular charges. This was blanket and unlawful intimidation of our governors. How can an elected governor with a clear mandate to implement directly from the people be removed for financial or procurement issues, yet he is not directly responsible for the matter and did not abuse his office? Why not punish the responsible officers? Hon.Ekwe.
I think I will respond to that one. I think it is also a bit harsh on us, but more moderate, in the sense that when I was responding to Makali's question actually on the timelines, I really explained the motions we went through. And I think people should really read the work, what we do, in the context of what we are supposed to do. So that if they consider that was harsh or will not give somebody enough time, that is not for us. That is enough for them to look at the constitutional provision and see whether you can make amendments to that. But this is what we had. And as far as I am concerned, Senate gave the best shot. In terms of some senators maybe were like issuing threats. Yes, there were one or two. But of course, you know, when a matter comes, you look at it in the context of where you are also coming from. So in a way, they were meandering. But the chair was there to tell them, you know, you cannot, that is not entertained, that's not relevant to this particular matter. We are talking about a governor of Embu County. And I think it is on the Hansard.
Suppose the High Court reinstate the governor. Suppose the High Court reinstate the governor and said that whatever he did was null and void, or whatever judgment, but he is brought back. What reputation or what credibility will have the Senate have? Or do you think it will not be tainted? Or it will be tainted?
I would imagine, from our understanding, that will not be possible. But if the High Court does it, that is their decision. We have done our part.
Why do you think it's not possible?
Because
they are there.
We followed through the system. But yes, by the way, which, I think, thank you, Mutegi, for raising that issue, because it relates to another issue about that we did not give a fair process to the governor. There were two persons brought to us from the Embu County, the governor and the deputy governor. And there were 5 counts against each. We interrogated each of those counts. We found that the ones, if you look at this, when the impeachment of Embu comes to the Senate, we consider them as allegations. So the task of the Special Senate Committee was to substantiate the allegations. So the 5 allegations against the deputy governor, we did not substantiate. We found that there was no merit, and so we allowed the deputy governor to go back to work, and she's in office. The 5 allegations against the governor, we found 2 unsubstantiated, and then 3 were the ones that had been substantiated. That is the process. It was a quasi-judicial process. And so he got impeached on the basis of those 3 accounts.
This is interesting from Buru in Embu. The Senate Speaker has a point. If the courts are allowed to direct what the Senate can do or not do, we might find the courts ordering them to stay at home.
Absolutely.
But there are also calls for you to investigate.
Let me also explain this. But this is also a matter we are not just acting in vain. Right. You remember the issue of the ECK,
right. Electoral
Commission of Kenya. Yes. When there was a bill before Parliament to disband them, the commissioners went to the High Court, got an order against Parliament. And my predecessor, the one that this country appreciates to be very Solomonic, Kenneth Otiato Marende, made a very lengthy submission, and I think that matter was put to rest.